Reaction to the deadly attack poured into the Fox 35 newsroom overnight. World leaders, politicians, veterans, all of them weighing in on what happened yesterday. And joining us right now live to talk more about it is retired U.S. Army Colonel Voorhees. Always good to talk to you. How are you, sir?
It's good to see you, Amy. Wish it was under better circumstances for sure.
Well, you and me both.
How am I doing?
I want you to describe first, if you would, how you were feeling yesterday when you heard the news about what happened.
Yeah, I don't think the feelings started just yesterday. I think they started probably a week ago Monday when everything started to fall. And they're ranged from extreme sadness to rage. And this situation certainly could have been avoided by better planning, in my opinion, and most importantly, better leadership. But up front, my heart goes out to 10 Marines, 2 Army soldiers, and 1 Navy medic, as well as 95 Afghans that were just looking for a better life and a better future.
I think what was disheartening to so many people is that we had the intelligence. We knew that an attack was imminent. How did someone get that close to our military personnel that they were able to do this?
Well, the way I understand it's designed is there's an outer circle, if you will, where the Taliban controls people that come in. And then once they get inside that wire, you're face to face with the soldiers that have to pat people down and check them. You know, my gut tells me you can never test. Well, my gut doesn't tell me. I know that the Taliban cannot be trusted. And that's part of the problem right now. We've let them take control of the situation. They're calling the shots. And all it takes is one person to get through or one person to have an agreement to get through. And something like this happens. You can see it coming. The bottom line is we should have never withdrawn all our forces before the evacuation was complete. And it's starting to show the results of it. And it's tragic, tragic.
We're hearing from some people that we should now go full force all the way back in. Leon Panetta was one of the people who came out and said it's time for us to go back and you know, set up shop again and to get this situation calmed down. But then we heard the president last night say that Afghanistan is not one of our worst areas, that there are enemies that are even closer to us. What are your thoughts there on how we now approach this situation?
Yeah, Amy, it's a great question. You know, I think that everybody fundamentally agrees, for the most part, that it's time to leave Afghanistan. The question is how to do it right. As far as a build-up to where we were before, I think we need to be measured on that. But I think we do need to put the right forces in, maybe not even in Kabul, and make sure we have the right air power in to ensure that we can get folks out. A full build-up, I don't think is going to happen just because of what you mentioned. The president is not interested in doing that. But we have got to maintain some level of security to get everybody out. And this artificial deadline is not healthy either. That plays right into the Taliban. I think we need to relook timelines, relook the right force, and make sure that we get people out. And then if we have to, we need to strike potential targets to, you know, ensure that they know we mean business. At the end of the day, these thugs, if you will, these terrorists, they understand 2 things, pressure and pain. And that's what we've been doing to them for a long time to keep them at bay. Once you relinquish that, you see what happens, and it's playing out in real time.
We also heard the president talk about getting revenge on these attacks on our U.S. military personnel. We know that these were suicide bombers. We believe that they were from this newly formed group called ISIS-K. But you're dealing with a whole lot of factions, or as the president called them, tribes, right? All these different areas of Afghanistan. We know that there's al-Qaeda operating, Taliban operating, ISIS-K, which is something new for a lot of people. Didn't even know that that group existed. How do you go about getting revenge?
Well, it's going to be very difficult. ISIS-K, what they're looking to do is promote their brand now, and they certainly have put themselves on the world stage. But they don't have like a base, a traditional base. They're going to, you know, blend back into the society, the villages or whatever, and it's tough to get a read on them, especially when we don't have the assets to do it. And there's a lot of tough talk and rhetoric, but the fact of the matter is we have pulling out all of our capability. There's talk of this over-the-horizon capability. That's very difficult when you don't have the intel assets in place to be able to react. So you're right. We can say we're going to get revenge, but it's going to be very difficult, especially with these fringe groups. And that's just one of them. Al-Qaeda is going to get back in, and there's going to be a food fight for power control there in Kabul. We've just created the conditions for extremist terrorists to come in and occupy all around Afghanistan. So very challenging situation, Amy, and very concerning, to be quite candid.
Well, I think we're all just feeling very emotional today and praying that there is a better outcome going forward. Thank you so much for your service, retired Lieutenant Army Colonel Voorhees. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us this morning.
All right, Amy, and please, everybody, keep those families in your foremost mind.
Absolutely.
It's going to be tough times ahead.
Continued
Thank you, Amy.
prayers. Take care. And of course, you can depend on Fox 35 for continuing coverage on the crisis in Afghanistan. To view more reaction, just look for this story on our homepage, on our website, fox35orlando.com.